I called the book Everything is F***ed because if you look at the world today, we live in kind of a very strange period where by every material metric, the world is better than it's ever been. We're living longer, we're healthier, we're wealthier, we have more technology, we're curing diseases and stuff. Like, it's actually better to be alive than it has been at any other point in human history.
Manson is an American author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F, and also the latest trending book, Everything is F, a book about hope. Manson is a blogger and entrepreneur and also the author of the website markmanson.net. This website is again a pool of articles based on relationships, on self-care, on management and habits, and many such. You should be definitely checking out his blog straight. Also, Manson has more than 2 million visitors visiting his website. He has appeared in famous talk show Marie TV, where he talks about how to stop caring about things and people that don't matter. He also appeared recently in the Tom B. Lou show, where he talks about Everything is F, a book about hope. He talks about his wisdom nuggets. Before we jump into the video, let's have some fun with the following memes. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Let's jump in straight to the video.
Hello guys. So today at Books and Bliss Club, we are going to review a very much hyped book of 2019, and which is that?
Everything is F by Manson.
Everything is F, a book of hope by Manson. So we already know his first book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, has been phenomenally successful, and this book, which is very much related with his first book, has created so much of hype in the media. And today we are going to summarize this book for you people.
So dear friends, if you're looking for book recommendations, book reviews as well as book summaries on books related to personal development, self-help, biographies, business and time management, this is a channel you should be subscribing. So without any further ado, please do hit this red subscribe button and the bell icon so you are the first one to notified when we upload a new video. So without any further ado, let's get started.
So there are 5 big ideas from this book which we are going to discuss. Big idea number 1, the consciousness car. The author gives a wonderful analogy of comparing our mind to a car, which he calls it a consciousness car, and which is driving along the road of life. There are 2 travelers in your consciousness car, a thinking brain and a feeling brain.
Your thinking brain represents your conscious thoughts, your ability to make calculations and express ideas through language.
And your feeling brain represents your emotions, impulses, intuitions and instincts.
Mostly we assume that thinking brain drives the car, but in reality it is a feeling brain that takes the driver's seat. And yes, all our daily actions are also propelled by this feeling brain.
The feeling brain dominates our decision making. In our daily parlance, you do what you do because you feel it right. But the key here is never fight with your feeling brain, because it can make things worse and you will feel hopelessness, as mostly it is the feeling brain that dominates our thinking brain.
So to have them in proper alignment, we can use our values and also use emotions.
Ultimately, we get to have control over the meaning of our feelings when both thinking and feeling brains align to each other.
So let's give an example. So if you want to hit the gym, you definitely know the benefits of hitting the gym every day in the morning. But why are you not motivated to get up in the morning and go to gym? Because you do not have emotions attached with that. You do not have feelings. But you can motivate yourself to get up straight from your bed and hit the gym when you trick your feeling brain by saying that when you go to the gym, you will look thin, you will look healthy, you will feel more confident. So when you attach your emotions to whatever you want to achieve and get it done, that's how your feeling brain motivates you to take action. So this is one big idea which the author gives in the first concept, that is the consciousness card.
The second big idea is the uncomfortable truth. Believe me, you and I, we all believe that we are significant and universe has something to do with our role in the universe. But author says that in the whole cosmic consciousness, we are just insignificant. What we do, what we think, what we say, or what we feel is insignificant in the cosmic outcome. But this feeling of insignificance creates a lot of pain within ourselves, and that's why we don't want to accept this uncomfortable truth. And that's why we create meaning, we create values, that's why we create so many things around ourselves, and we play with those things, and we believe that we are someone in the universe who has so much of importance. So the point here is we need to accept this uncomfortable truth that it doesn't make any difference if we go away from this universe. And when we accept this uncomfortable truth, it liberates us from the responsibilities from our shoulder, from the so much of burden on our brain to change the world, to make world better, or to improve someone else's life, or even self-improvement. These are all the things only created by our own brain and not by the universe.
Wow, that's a wonderful breakthrough idea, the uncomfortable truth. So my big takeaway is the Newton's law of emotions. So there are 3 laws. Even we studied 3 laws back when we were in school. But here the author gives a different perception when it comes to his interpretation of the law. The first Newton's law of emotion is, for every action there is an equal and opposite emotional reaction. Say for example, there is a person A and person B. Person A hits person B on his face. So person B, it's a natural instinct to retaliate in the same manner. There is a moral gap which comes into a picture between both of the persons A and B. And to equalize both of them, the person will retaliate or will say something negative about that. So this is the moral gap that the author talks about. That's the negative emotions. But what if, in a positive scenario, person A gives a house to person B? Again, the person B is a moral gap that develops between the two. The person B here is overwhelmed with the kind of, overwhelmed with positive emotions for the person A. Again, he will try to equalize that gap, which comes to a very big term known as reciprocity.
So what other person will do to you, you feel emotionally, you will feel that you need to do the same to other persons, whether in negative or in a positive terms. But this is our basic instinct. So point here is you have to be very much clear, because both of them can go against you, even negative and positive. So reciprocity is the principle which you can use wisely in your life to get along with your life. The second law is really interesting one. Your self-worth is equal to total emotions you feel in your life. Well, what does that mean? So in the same scenario, when person A hits person B and person B doesn't retaliate, as well as person B doesn't give any kind of reaction. Instead, person B thinks that, okay, I deserve this.
Correct.
I am weak, or kind of, I am not a useful person. So then that person B will collect so many emotions within himself, and finally his self-worth will be equal to the emotions he continuously accumulate in his brain. So here author says that this kind of emotional accumulation we should avoid by expressing our emotion as and when required, without thinking that whether it is right or wrong. If you won't express your emotions, your self-worth will be diminished, and you will convince yourself that you are not at all meaningful, or you are not at all useful to this universe, and hence you will create the trap for your own self. So to break this trap, always try to express your emotions.
Again, he has wonderfully concluded in the book that how we come to value everything in life relative to ourselves is a sum of the emotions over time. So the third law is
your identity remains your identity until an experience goes against it.
So we all from our childhood grow in under the influence of our parents, of our friends, of our cousins. Sometimes we get into our thinking system some positive belief, also some narratives that also sometimes propels us to think negative about ourselves. As and when we grow up, it is seen that there are some self-limiting beliefs that we try to think and that comes into action. So the author tells over here that we need to reframe our narratives which we have had in our past so that we have a more fulfilling, great future. Here he gives two ways. The first way is to reaffirm your previous narratives. So what you do, like for example, if previously you were told that you are not talented, you are not creative, you are not fit to do this job, you are not fit for this person, what you do is switch that narrative into something positive. Maybe that person was not fit for me, or maybe that situation did not allow me to be creative. So that way you can reframe your narrative. The second thing which the author advises is take a piece of paper and write future projection of yourself. Write affirmations about yourself which you would like to see yourself in the future. I am a talented dentist. I am a talented YouTuber. So by reaffirming once again the affirmations, you project yourself as a more empowering person, a more positive person.
And big idea number 4 is pain is the universal constant. So as a human being, we all need to admit that we all are constantly striving for happiness. Why? Because in one social experiment, psychologist has proven that on the scale of 1 to 10, irrespective of any positive situation like whether you win a lottery or a negative situation like whether you paralyzed or you lost your loved ones, somehow within a few months you will get back to your normal reading, and that is 7. So most of the time our normal reading, whether we eat something, whether we celebrate something, whether we gain something or whether we lose something, is 7. But the trick our brain plays with us is, it always says us that if you do this, you will get perfect 10. If you buy a house, you will get perfect 10. If you get a dream job, you will get perfect 10. But that perfect 10 remains illusory as well as it is very temporary. So that's how we continuously going on searching happiness and we end up on 7, and that brings frustration, hopelessness, depression in our life. So key here is to accept that humans, we are very much, our constant state is mild pain with unsatisfaction. We constantly live in a mild happiness, mild pain with some kind of unsatisfaction, which drives our behavior towards gaining happiness, perfect 10, and then we do some things in our life. So pain, don't see pain as a vice, but see pain as a value.
Correct.
And author correctly says that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. So in our life, how can you use your pain? By giving meaning to the pain, by saying I am going to choose this pain for this thing, rather than if you try to avoid your pain, it will backfire and you will be more sensitive to suffering. So don't try to get rid away of your pain, which is your constant feeling. Allow it to be there and use your pain for your goals and for your fulfillment. And the last big idea number 5 is freedom. So we all want to get free in our life, isn't it? But which kind of freedom we are looking for? Mark Manson says the real freedom, the only freedom, is self-limitations. The freedom doesn't mean you have so many options to choose from, but freedom means how many options you are ready to let go and how many limitations you are ready to impose on yourself. It's a paradox, but your self-denial will give you more pleasure than your self-exploration. You need to willing to sacrifice something. You need to willing to let go something so that you feel pleasure. Rather than you should ask continuously for more option, more choices. Because more option and more choices doesn't mean you are free. Then you are slave of the options. If you ready to, you can become happy or free right now by choosing your limitations, by putting certain limitation on yourself. For example, if you decide to wake up early in the morning, that is the one limitation you put on yourself. Second, if you want to get rid of all the emails which is there in your thing, you are ready to dedicate that time. This is the second limitation. But by putting these limitations, by putting this self-discipline, you become more happier rather than living your life haphazardly or by having so many options in your life. Everything is a F ultimate book. We recommend this book to everyone. Do read it. It's totally different from the regular self-help books. It has many insights, many significant stories which we don't know even in the era of social media and information era. And author has very aptly put all the stories and the message from each story. And this is a book you want to read again and again and again, so to grasp the essence of the book.
And I believe the story that struck both of us was the story of the
Burning monk.
We'll not reveal the story, but you should definitely read. Pain is the universal constant for that story. It gave us goosebumps actually.
Yes, it gives a different perspective to our emotions basically. And another book by same author, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. If you haven't read it, don't worry. We have done review of the same book. You can find the link in the description and you can watch that video as well. As of now, that's it from our side. Everything is F. A Book of Hope by Manson is a must read. We'll come up with another book in the next session. Till then, bye.